I started fetish modeling just recently, actually. Before at Bunny Ranch, I had never been submissive in any type of sort of way, just because, more like safety, type of. But I did do quite a few, fetish scenarios on other people and a lot of femdom, and I loved it. I absolutely fell in love with it. So I never really had too many opportunities to do a lot of fetish modeling myself until I worked with Kink and John the Pope. And so Jean Paul the Pope. And so that was really cool. And it opened up, this entire like new world. It's crazy because like I watch it all the time, and I love it, and I love watching anime and anime porn as well. And so it's just like I would see it on there, and the dungeons and everything would really excite me, but like I would never have anybody that could like that fully wanted to dominate me, so I always had like the biggest struggles. So it wasn't until porn that I actually had people who were professional enough and trained and skilled enough that they were able to do it correctly, and then also with the confidence that's needed. So fetishes that I like is I really love oral. I'm obsessed with oral, and it's just like with oral, like I really love like the spit and everything. Like I feel like I have like an overly active saliva gland or something, just because like I will just like see like genitals and my mouth will just be like it's crazy. Another thing that I really like is I think that it's called puppy play. And for me, it's just like basically like puppy play, but I like to be a cat or like a fox, or I just think that's so cute. I love to put in like little butt plug tails and to put on like a collar and a leash and ears. And so I love that stuff so much. I just think it's so freaking cute. And then if I get like somebody fucks the shit out of me afterwards, like if I'm good, that sounds really awesome. And it's just like I love being a switch as well. But a fetish of mine for sure would have to be like if somebody can make me a sub, and it's like if somebody can make me like a legitimate sub, it's just like a lot of times you can say that to people and then they think, oh, you want dominant? And I'm like, no, not like that. Oh my gosh. I'm like, don't be like aggressive. Just be like, that's not what I mean. But a fetish of mine is if somebody can actually like really do that fantasy of making me a sub, but also making me feel like praised and special and loved, while, doing, either the bondage, the clamps, the whipping, the gags, all of the, breath play, doing that stuff correctly is a huge fetish, because people that actually know how to do it, nobody. I'm just like, let's be honest, compared to the entire world, there's really not that many people that are extremely excellent at it, but there's also not that many people out there that actually give people real orgasms either. So playing with fire.
Skill,
yeah, exactly. I wanted to shoot for Taboo just because I have followed your guys' work, forever. I have been, badly looking at, erotic magazines and stealing magazines before I was supposed to. And so I had always been obsessed with your guys' brand and, how you guys portrayed, the women, because that's, how I said, I had said, just something I had longed for and that I fell in love with, originally with porn in the sex community, was that the women look like women and they embodied the confidence and the beauty. And a lot of times that was, through your guys' company. And that was really special, and something that was like, okay, this is kind of like a little bit of like a girly dream of mine. That would be, I'm like, does this stuff actually, like come true? Is this actually, attainable? And if it's, what I found out, if it's something that you actually love and that you passionately love, like life just likes to line things up for you. What's even wild anymore? I don't even know. Like what would surprise people? I feel like, see, like, you say things like, oh, I have sex out and about and in nature and, in public, and people are like, whoa, that's wild. And I'm over here like, that's casual to me. And then I'm over here, people are just like, oh, I wish my girl would give me roadhead. And I'd be like, I'd be doing that like every other day too. It'd be like, oh, okay, what else is wild?
What's wild to you that you've done?
Oh, man. The recently wildest thing that I did was my, like, it was like a hog tie suspension, just having, you know, like, no, can't do anything with my mouth, couldn't do anything with my hands, couldn't do anything, my body, because I'm being suspended, up in the air, my legs as well. I literally couldn't move anything. And, just being like that, and, having somebody like come up and just give me like a few like slaps in the face, and then then from there, me not being able to see absolutely anything, and just like looking at this wooden floor, and then just being penetrated from the back, all consent, loved it, and so for me, I think that's probably like one of the most wildest things that I think I've ever done. But if anything, I think like wild is I worked at the freaking bunny ranch and I was having sex, like 2 to 5 times a day. That was also pretty wild. And some crazy stuff happened there.
The hog tie, that's a good story.
But the hog tie is perfect. Intense. Yeah, that was it was wonderful. I really I let go, and something that, the person who was tying me up, they said, you become so peaceful the moment that we start wrapping the rope around you. He just said, everything about you just. And I thought about it, like, after he said that, and I was like, he's right. And I was like, that was, and I knew that's exactly like where I wanted to be, and it was, for a lot of people, there's like, oh, that's crazy. Oh, that's the, this and that. But that's why you do these things. It's not for other people. You do it for yourself. And that was something that was really, really, really special to me, actually. So I'm glad that I got to talk about that. But it was also wild. Definitely both. I feel like it's important to, if you're going to do something, I feel like you need to be fully in it. And for me to say that I fully love something, I am not only am I able, to just do it, for pictures, because I feel like pictures probably don't get as extreme as, some like hardcore bondage can get. And so like if you're going to do the modeling, and if you're going to be a person that's going to portray, this type of fetish, I feel like you need to back yourself up a little bit and be like, hey, so here is me actually, having this fetish being done to me, and I can stand behind it, and I can encourage other people that they can safely practice it too. Because if you don't know anything about it, and you're just, doing it because like, oh, the pictures look nice, then all of a sudden you get into a scenario like that and they start freaking out. And then what do they tell other people? Then that fetish gets kind of a bad rep. And a lot of times that will happen because people do it wrong and not right. But if you do it right, it's one of the most incredible experiences. And to be able to, so being able to do the film and also the pictures, it kind of completes, the entirety of, what Taboo would be. So we're open, and there are not very many things that we say no to. It's just open communication. So personally, it's not something like I'm looking for at the moment, because I don't have a lot of time. And a lot of times when it comes with fetishes, they're a little bit more on the needier side. And it's something that I've learned, and it's quite wonderful. But if somebody starts feeling abandoned for any reason, it can really hit them emotionally, and I don't want to do that to somebody, and I've learned that. So as of right now, I don't have a lot of time to do something like that. Unfortunately, but that's something that I'm totally open to. There's a lot of because there's like fetish websites and everything, and I'll go on there and I'll create fake profiles just to like chat with people and stuff, because I don't want people to like be messaging me and be like, oh, you're Lacy Lennon. Be like, I don't want to be Lacy Lennon. I was like, I just want to get weird. It's just like, I don't want anything like that. It's just like, I don't want any special treatment. I just like want to have like weird and like fun conversations. So I do stuff like that already. And like I love talking to people and everything with that sort of stuff. And like some of my favorite fans to talk to on my social media, and the ones that catch my attention, are the ones that say like really like fetish type of posts towards me, or like ask me really interesting questions, versus like, what's your favorite scene? They'll be like, oh, so what if I tied you up and this not said and this and that, and then had put a dildo on a stick and clamped you like this. If somebody responds to something like that on my social media, I will reply, because I'm just like, thank you for being interesting, thank you for not being boring, because that's anything that I want my career and everything that I do to be. So I'm open to friendships right now, just because I don't have time for a relationship. But I do love them very much. They're my fam.